Former acting FBI director and Russia collusion conspiracy theorist Andrew McCabe could soon face charges for lying to federal agents. Prosecutors now are reportedly on the brink of reaching a decision about whether to prosecute McCabe. This is going to be titanic. Judge Jeanine Pirro follows this all the time. She's host of Justice with Jeanine, a hit show on the weekends and Saturday night. You see her at the news channel. But the bigger news this week with the judge is the release of her new book, Radicals, Resistance, and Revenge, The Left's Plot to Remake America. Jeanine Pirro, great to see you in studio at this hour.
Well, it's good to be with you at this hour. You should be home in bed getting ready for tomorrow morning, and I'll see you tomorrow,
And you were kind enough to yell at me and give me the book and say my book's coming out like you always do, and it's great. I had a chance to go through it. So with McCabe, I find this fascinating. You do this every day. I obviously don't. But the fact is that defense attorneys for McCabe were kind of meeting. They had two separate meetings with Justice Department officials over the last few days. What do you think that means?
Oh, well, I know what it means. What it means is that the lying prosecutors did not agree to not go forward with the prosecution of Andrew McCabe. Otherwise, there would be no point to go to the Deputy Attorney General or the DAG, right? If they didn't want to prosecute him, there would be no point to go to Washington. So that's why you keep hearing that an indictment is imminent. That his attorneys are trying to convince the top guys at the DOJ, you cannot indict this guy. And here is our proof for not wanting you to indict him. Lisa Page, part of that lovebird couple, Strzok and McCabe, has said, look, you know, McCabe had the right to actually leak this kind of information. He was the deputy director of the FBI, and he had no motive to lie, even though the inspector general, in referring this as a criminal referral, said he lied on 3 occasions.
Right. So to back up just a little bit, so Andy McCabe was asked, did you leak to the Wall Street Journal? He said, no. He said, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
And they say, so
then he said, I don't remember.
Right. And they said, I don't remember. So it's okay for him not remember. It's okay for him to be confused. But it's not okay for Michael Flynn to be confused. It's not okay for Mr. Papadopoulos to be confused. It's not okay for you or I to be confused at the FBI. They're not, they don't ask you for that. They don't give you that understanding.
Well, it's worse than that. And I'll tell you why. Look, Papadopoulos, the date that he didn't remember was of no consequence. And Michael Flynn, a lieutenant general for 30 years, even the FBI agents didn't believe that he was lying, okay? They have to show that there is an actual intent to lie. But more significant than that, Brian, is the fact that when you are at that level of government, they try to make an example of you so that your wrongdoing is treated almost more severely than other people's. And yet this guy is still walking around, getting a job with CNN and writing a big book.
So I find it interesting. So I did not know this came into fray. In deciding whether to go forward with the prosecution, they're going to look at the court in which he'd be in front of.
That's
and if they look at it as a liberal court with a conservative president, they might say, this is not going to get to a conviction. Is it worth my time? I'm in the idealistic world. Whether you did it or not, is it serious or not? Not what would the jury look like. I'm surprised by that.
Well, look, and I talk about it in my book, and I talk about Andrew McCabe specifically and what he should be charged with, and I even give the statutes in the book. But here's the bottom line. Every prosecutor, and I did this for 30 years, and every prosecutor is going to say, can I prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt? Do I have the elements of the crime? And then they're going to say, will the jury buy it? You've got a D.C. jury that is not Trump inclined, and so they're going to kind of look at it. They're going to look at Lisa Page. They're going to say, this is D.C. that is not a right inclined jury or even a balanced jury.
Yeah, you know, Judge, it's amazing. Just in case you think he's contrite and feels worried, he's suing to get his pension back because he feels he was fired for political reasons. So not only does he feel he's innocent, he feels he was wrongly fired.
Right, and I talk about that in the book, too. This guy has such an ego, he thinks that he was being targeted as if anybody cares about Andrew McCabe and who he is. But what he did was wrong. It was dead wrong. And we're not even talking about some of the other issues. When his wife ran for state Senate in Virginia, he goes to Terry McAuliffe to get money from the Clinton Foundation. This is all dirty stuff.
And just for the record, for people at home, you're not yelling at me. That's what you do. Right? I mean, it seems like you're yelling at me, but I'm from an Italian family, and I'm used to it, but I want people at home to know.
You always say I'm yelling at you. I'm not yelling at you.
Sometimes I feel like you're yelling at me.
Look, I'm a judge. I had to yell in the courtroom. They had to listen to me. I mean, and I don't have a gavel here. Next time I come, I'll speak very softly. If you give me a gavel. Okay?
See you on Fox and Friends in a few hours.
In the morning.
Okay. It's going to be great. Judge, congratulations.
You going to be nice to me?
I'm always nice. I'm too afraid not to be nice. Thank you, Judge.